Taylor Swift knows more about intellectual property than, frankly, most lawyers. And if you've got big plans for your business, you should be taking notes. Her trademark filing for The Life of a Showgirl wasn't just a smart legal step, it was a calculated preemptive strike to protect her next era. I'm Samantha Bradshaw, IP lawyer and founder of Inline Legal, and today we're going to talk about the CEO level play that Taylor uses with every album released now. She does this to keep control of what she fought so hard to get back, and you can use the same idea to safeguard your business from copy Karens and copy Carls. Plus, I'm going to break down what Taylor Swift's latest trademark filings truly mean for all the Swifties out there and what's coming for them. This is going to be a masterclass in brand strategy that every entrepreneur, Swiftie or not, can learn from. So don't wait for a big expensive mistake. There is a link in the description for you to take my free trademark quiz. It'll help you find out if a trademark makes sense for your business, or if you just need to not accidentally steal somebody else's like Taylor Swift might have at one point. And it'll tell you kind of if the US Patent and Trademark Office likes your name or not if we get past that point. So what's the problem here? Most entrepreneurs, artists, creatives, they pour everything into their businesses and their creations. Late nights, life savings, creative energy, blood, sweat, teardrops on their guitars, and you come up with the perfect name, logo, brand identity, and so much more. But here's the reality that no one told you when you started this thing. Without registering that intellectual property, be it copyright or trademark, you're operating on what we call common law rights, which sounds okay, but really it's not. You're leaving the apartment door wide open. You think that just by using a name it's yours, or maybe you don't think that and you're just kind of ostriching this whole legal thing and sticking your head in the sand. First, there is no guarantee that somebody else wasn't using this brand name first. Your Google search was not enough, I promise. Second, even if you're the first one to use it, you only have common law rights. Those do offer some protection, but normally only in your current area, your city, your state, and your industry. And proving it and fighting about it also normally means a really expensive, drawn-out legal battle that easily costs 5 figures for the simplest things. So let's talk about Taylor Swift, because that's part of the reason we're here, right? Her biggest legal battle in the last decade wasn't people calling her a snake, saying they liked her music about 25% less now. It was a piece of paper that she signed at 15 years old. One that gave away a massive chunk of her IP to somebody else. And to be super clear about this, there are 2 types of copyrights for a song that we're going to be talking about here. First, the copyright in the musical composition and the lyrics, right? The song itself. This copyright was always hers, always. But the second copyright is the sound recording, the master recordings. This one specifically was controlled by the contract that she signed with Big Machine. It belonged to the record label according to the contract. This is the legal loophole that allowed her life's work to be sold off. And she found out the day that it happened, it sold for over $300 million. Taylor even told Billboard she wasn't given an opportunity to buy her own music, saying, artists should maybe have the first right of refusal to buy. This normally means if I'm going to sell something, that this person is the first person I have to offer it to, and until they say no, I'm not allowed to sell it to anybody else. When she tried to negotiate for it back, she was only offered a deal to earn back her masters one album at a time, for every new one that she turned back into the company. This is the ultimate contract gone wrong scenario. Her fight didn't just change her own career, it rippled across the entire music industry. In fact, her advocacy for artist rights was a major catalyst for the passage of the Music Modernization Act in 2018. This landmark legislation updated US copyright law for the digital age and ensured that songwriters and artists would receive fair royalties from streaming services like Spotify. You remember that? Taylor Swift threatened to take all of her music off of the platform. Her legal battle was a high-profile challenge to the old-school industry, where the model was that record labels held all of the power, not the artist. This whole mess didn't just create an anti-villain, it became a masterclass in the importance of ownership. It turned the dry clause in a contract that frankly nobody reads except for the lawyers into the emotional gut punch for Swift, her fans, and eventually a bit of a powerhouse move for the rest of the music industry. It showed millions what happens when you don't own your work completely. Her response, the legendary re-recording project of all 6 albums, was a creative, reactive solution that she never wanted to be put back into the position of having to react again. So she fought back for her own copyright and used her platform to push for this updated copyright law that allowed other artists to make sure that statutory licensing was more fair for the creators and more efficient for the digital music providers of streaming platforms. All of this combined was really a game of intellectual property, and Taylor Swift wanting to get back absolute control over everything that she created. It was her fighting back, and frankly, it taught her the importance of having a good lawyer. She even said,
"Get a good lawyer."
And specifically good contract and intellectual property lawyers, because that's who helped her find this loophole. That struggle over her masters taught her this critical lesson, and it set the stage for a new, quieter, and definitely more brilliant strategy: the art of striking first. So before we move on, a really quick clarification. It is crucial to this whole discussion to understand that trademarks and copyrights are two different things. They protect different ideas, protect different things. In this case, the copyright is protecting the music itself, the lyrics, the melody, and the sound recordings. The trademark protects the branding, the name of the album, the logo on the merchandise. Taylor owns the copyright to her songs, but not the master recordings. She's always had the right for the trademark. If you want to understand the difference between these two things on a higher level outside of just music, I would love for you to go watch this video over here so you can understand better. So that's why she could re-record the songs, but she had to create new masters that she owned, not the record company. This is also why she wanted to trademark Taylor's version to signify that each one of these new master recordings was hers, not the originals. Let's talk about the preemptive strike on the life of a showgirl and get into the chess game that Taylor is playing these days and how you can copy it. Hours before the world even knew about her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, Taylor's legal team had filed a very specific kind of trademark application. It's known as the intent to use application. And essentially that means I'm not selling this thing right now, but I plan to be selling it soon. And she filed it for two things: The Life of a Showgirl and TLOAS, the acronym for The Life of the Showgirl. Most trademark applications are filed with the evidence that you're already using that brand to sell the things you're claiming, at the things that are in your classes, the things that you want to protect, and you're showing that you're already doing that. This particular one is where Taylor's team is a little bit smarter than waiting to let the copy Carls and the copy Karens start making money off of her announcement, because the second something this high profile goes live, all the counterfeit programs immediately start popping off. She's super visible, and the more visible you are, the more risk of somebody stealing your stuff that you have. So this isn't new for her, this whole filing I plan to sell this thing. The Tortured Poets Department was announced on February 4th, 2024, during her acceptance speech at the Grammy Awards. And just like with this new album, her team also filed the trademarks for the Tortured Poets Department and TTPD a few minutes after the announcement. And if we look at it between the two applications, the categories that she protected herself in were even the same between Poets Department and Showgirl. She's claiming all of these things. So they've checked the applications once, they've checked the applications twice, and this is a calculated preemptive strike. This same strategic play has been her standard for all of her re-releases. Her team filed the Fearless, Taylor's version, trademark, the day before the album announcement. And when she announced Fearless, they submitted the paperwork for all of the remaining re-records at the same time. The other 5, all of them together. And they did it on the same application. More importantly, this shows a combination of legal, marketing, and promotional timing all working together. Whatever Easter eggs it is that Taylor's creating, she shared them with multiple members on her team to make sure they could create this strategy that was designed to never put Taylor in a position where she was going to be subject to somebody else's control of her creations ever again. And this helps beat something we call trademark squatters. These are people who race to register trademarks for popular names, things they think will sell. You see this a lot when somebody makes a statement or a phrase that goes viral, and what they do is they go register first, and then they sell back the registration to the artist or the creator at some crazy amount of money. It's blackmail. Or they sell knockoff merchandise so they can benefit directly from it. Taylor, from everything you've heard or everything that you already know, definitely isn't about to let somebody else make money off of her unless she wants to anymore. The secret weapon here is that intent to use application. This allows for somebody to file it for a trademark before they're actually selling the thing they're trying to protect. As of right now, she's not selling merchandise for Life of a Showgirl. She's not going to be doing that until October 3rd, but this application says that she certainly intends to. And she has to prove it within 6 months of somebody at the US Patent and Trademark Office initially saying her application looks okay. If she can't do that, she has the ability to keep requesting 6-month extensions for a while, up to 3 years actually, is how long her team has to provide proof that they're using these brands the way that they say they're going to. But we all know that on October 3rd, once the album goes up, it's going to be all orange, and she'll have all of the evidence that she needs to provide that sale. And she'll be a smidge closer to getting the full registration. This kind of application, it's kind of a way to call dibs legally, right? And that's why talking to a lawyer anytime there's something big coming up in your business can save you money, can save you brand, can save you time, can save you all sorts of headaches. She is preemptively protecting her right to sell this entire list of things. So for the Swifties that have hung on this long, what are the goodies that are coming based on these trademark filings? This wasn't just about protecting the name for the album, although it certainly does that, and her ability to protect all the kinds of music recordings or things that you can buy, vinyls, CDs, everything. It's a preemptive claim on an entire commercial empire. She has covered all the merch and then some. This application actually covers 14 different international classes of goods and services, costing $3,900 in the government filing fees alone. This fee, plus, whatever she paid her lawyers to craft this whole thing, is going to give her the exclusive, legally protected right to be the only person who can sell all of these products under the brand Life of a Showgirl. So what does that mean? This filing tells us literally everything she's possibly thinking about. She's got class 4, which is going to cover candles, class 9, which is every music format I think she could write down, vinyl records, downloadable music files, ringtones, mobile phone cases, sunglasses, wireless speakers, everything. We've also got jewelry, bracelets, lapel pins, keychains, guitar picks, music boxes, a full clothing line, whatever, sweaters, blankets, t-shirts, shorts, jackets that you want. And for those that are really attached to her Christmas tree album, there's even a section where we're covering tree skirts, snow globes, dolls, and board games. We've got stationery, tote bags, mugs, blankets, hair accessories, and even retail store services, because we all know she has her own shop. This has gone beyond just protecting an album. She's realized that not controlling her master recordings put her in a position where she had to negotiate with other people for what she wanted to do. This is laying the legal foundation for an entire era of merchandise. A whole new era, one would say, before a single fan even knew the album's name. Now, some people had guessed based on the orange door at the end of the Eras tour that something was coming, but nobody knew exactly what. Now we do. So she's got this coordinated machine. This level of precision reveals a really perfectly coordinated legal and marketing team working together in sync. The marketing team clearly had a launch plan. She had been doing Easter eggs for as long as we can remember, and they had the announcement time, the album release date, the name, the social media strategy. The legal team, though, created the intellectual property strategy based on this. Everybody worked from the same calendar. The trademark filing here, it wasn't an afterthought. It was a core step in the album launch when they were creating this plan in the first place, and one that she has simply built into launches, as we can see from the last one and this one and the ones before, and probably in whatever another 10 albums she's going to make over the next 10 years. But it was a lesson that she had to learn really painfully. For example, when her legal team filed for A Girl Named Girl, the title of a book that she wrote as a teenager, they had to repeatedly refile the trademark because they couldn't provide the evidence that she was selling these things under the brand in the initial deadline. Remember I told you we've got 6 months once an examiner looks at it, and we can keep extending that. They weren't able to do that. Now, whether she made a business decision to drop it, or maybe her team just forgot about the idea, I find that one hard to believe. But it's hard to say. I don't know. Trademark registrations, they're an added layer of protection to this. But let's be honest, she is far from perfect, even in this little sliver of her career. So she was accused, not too long ago, of stealing the logo from The Folklore, an online showroom that specialized in showing fashion from Africa and the African diaspora. These logos are also protectable by trademark, something that the store actually had at the time. The owner, Amira Rasool, spoke out on social media. She said, wait, hold up. Taylor Swift, it's one thing to use the name Folklore, but we're out here stealing Black women's logos too. And Rasool was totally right. You can't own the word folklore as a general thing for everything. But when the logo and the phrasing matches up, because those are two different applications, it starts looking like you might have taken some inspiration or straight up stolen it. She continued to explain that she was sharing her story to bring to light the trend of large companies and celebrities copying the work of smaller businesses, of POCs, folks that they didn't think had the resources to fight back. So, what did Swift do? She changed the logo, she wrote a check to the store, and she wrote a check to the Black and Fashion Council, a collective dedicated to advancing Black creatives and calling for racial justice in the beauty and fashion industries. Now, is this a perfect solution? No. It also shows that while you can try to preempt everything, it's also important to be able to react gracefully. Oh, and speaking of graceful reactions, in the research for this video, I just found out that the Folklore at the store Their trademark registration has just been canceled because they didn't keep up with the ongoing registrations. And that's something that's really important to know. If you don't work with a trademark professional in this process, people aren't going to be able to tell you, hey, in 5 years, we have to show them we're still using this product. We're still using this brand. And you have to submit evidence of that to the US Patent and Trademark Office. Navigating this process, figuring out what to file, when, how broad to go, what categories to claim, this is something that I help my clients with every day. You have to file strategically. A single mistake can mean losing the chance to lock down your brand, can mean losing the application, the registration that you've already gotten. It can mean losing the time just because you have to start a new registration. So if you're gearing up for a launch or you want to review your current protections, please book a discovery call with me. All right, and back to Swift. So it's really hard to track every option out there for branding, logos, names, and it's hard to tell whether the designer on Swift's team stole, was inspired by, or simply wound up creating something similar. It's really hard to say that without like a huge deep dive into that person's search history. Either way, the reaction shows an incredible level of intentionality. In many businesses, the legal department is a place you go to when something's already on fire. In Taylor Swift's team, her lawyers are actually a strategic growth driver. They aren't just defending the brand, they are actively clearing the path for its expansion and dealing with mishaps when they come up, because they happen. Her team has built a legal wall to keep the fakes out, because if you want to buy a Taylor Swift product, you want to know you're getting the real thing. All right, so we've broken down the genius of the play. We've seen how she turned a past vulnerability into a future strength, but this isn't just a story to admire, it's a blueprint. So if you're a Swiftie CEO building your own brand, what's the takeaway? First, if you're finding this valuable, please tap the subscribe button. We're always analyzing the moves that separate the good from the great. In the meantime, here is your Swift-inspired action plan. First, think ahead, not behind. Stop thinking of legal protection as something you'll get to eventually. The moment that you have a brand name or a product name that's core to your business, the clock starts ticking on how long it might take for somebody to steal it. The best time to file is before you launch. And that intent to use application lets you secure your rights before you've ever sold a single thing. The second best time is as soon as you watch this video and figure out you don't want to lose something. So part 2, identify your crown jewels. Your name, your logo, your product, what would hurt the most to lose? And write those down. Those are the things that probably deserve trademark protection for you. Third, when you get to filing, file broadly and quickly. Don't just file for what you're doing today. File for what you might be doing within the next 3 years. Taylor's 14 class filing wasn't just for a CD. It was for the empire of goods, from candles to Christmas ornaments and everything in between. It gives her options, and it blocks anybody else from taking those options from her. So talking to a trademark professional to understand how to best protect your vision is gonna be the best way. And then 4, test your trademark strategy. This is where most get stuck. They ask, is investing in a trademark even worth it? $3,900 just to the government's a lot of money for most people. How am I sure if I'm not using somebody else's trademark? Well, start with the trademark quiz. If you're not sure what your risks are, this is a really easy way for you to go deeper, or if you feel that urgency already, my team is here for a discovery call to map out your best next move. In conclusion, the story of the life of the Showgirl trademark is about more than just legal paperwork. It's a story about control, foresight, and the evolution of a business mastermind. Taylor Swift has built a brand that her fans rally around. She's built an empire on strategic, ruthless, and frankly, proactive business decisions. But she had to learn the hard way what it feels like to lose control of her own story. And in the quiet, calculated filings that she's made with the trademark office, she showed the world that she would never, ever let that happen again. Okay, so for every Swiftie CEO out there, this is your lesson. Your brand is your art. Your business is your legacy. Protect it with the same ferocity and foresight that you created it with. Don't wait for the fight to come to you. Build your own fortress. Own your work. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please tap the subscribe button and keep an eye out for more real-world legal plays from today's business masterminds.